Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble dungeon guide, I'm going to take a look at Gnomeregan on a Blackrock week, and especially this Rend Blackhand army that I used to clear a red level dungeon. First, let's take a quick look at the Gnomeregan dungeon mechanics. The first boss, Crowd Pummeler, melee cannon attacks and knock player minis off the platform, and yeah, they do. However, flying minis, when they get knocked off the platform, they can just fly back. When ground minis get knocked off the platform, even in some of these gaps, they're just gone. So the main plan for this one is to take this meeting stone and then start attacking it from both sides. With ranged units, Chimera I suppose is the best one. Chimera can just do so many things and it can also recover from being knocked back, but any ranged units really can handle it if you send them from both sides so that the boss can't knock them all down quickly enough. Then there's also these protective devices, Gnomish Harm Prevention Belt, limited time protection, known to attract gnomes if left sitting too long. So these give the minis temporary shield, but also if they're here for a while, then a safe pilot will spawn and from the boss's side and grab them and then start attacking you. So you want to pick these up when you have time to use that, but the main thing is to get this stone and get these attacks from two sides going. The second boss, Electrocutioner 6000, is the most annoying and most difficult boss in all of the dungeons in this game, because you're just going to be swarmed by so many minis. It has rocket towers, so you can't outrange rocket towers, and these rocket towers also have this kind of mist around them that deals elemental damage to your minis. The boss itself deals a whole bunch of elemental damage, so you'd kind of want to tank it with something resistant. Even a Quillbore will do, but also Fire Elemental used to be pretty sweet when it could also tank the rocket towers, but nowadays it doesn't do that nearly as effectively. So you need something to take the rocket towers. Sappers with rocket boots is the best option. If they don't have rocket boots, then at least one of the sappers is going to die, because slow sappers just are not fast enough to get underneath of the rocket. But rocket boot sappers, even if they're one-on-one against tower, they will be able to hit the tower. If you don't have rocket boots on your sappers, you probably want to use a gargoyle. And once you get both towers, you really have to get some towers here. Then you want to attack the boss and use a resistant tank to turn the boss around and then get some damage on it from behind. For example, Chimera can be very strong, but resistant tanks are the key to getting to the boss. And if you win the second map, you have basically won the dungeon, because Mekgineer Thermaplugg is not much of a boss. Control switches summon walking bombs for big damage. Thermaplugg has this shield here, so Thermaplugg takes very little damage otherwise, but there will be walking bombs coming over here or coming over here, depending on who is going to break through these switches. Switches cannot be claimed by flying, so you can claim them with ground troops and you can claim them with spells. You're just trying to keep minis on both sides of the map at all times, so that whenever these spawn, you get to destroy them immediately. So just go back and forth and always send miners whenever possible, because there's plenty of code here to mine and it's all very close to your base. And yeah, Thermaplugg is just a game of whack-a-mole basically, and then that's Gnomeregan. This is my army for Rend. I'm using Pyromancer and I'm using Whelpex. I've been using these two minis for all Blackrock armies. Then, because Rend has this mandatory flying slot, then I put in a Gargoyle over there. So I don't use Sappers with Rend, I use Gargoyle instead. Gargoyle is also the best choice if you don't have any talents available, because with Sappers, if you don't have rocket boots, they need some kind of distraction to actually reach the tower, whereas Gargoyle, it just always works. Then I have Plague Farmer, I have a Witch Doctor, and I have a Prowler as a tank. Prowler also complements nicely the Gargoyle, because Gargoyle can take down the tower, and then this Prowler can also come in and help a little bit, and it can come in real quick because it's fast. So being fast actually is a little bit bad in the last map, but on the other hand, in the second map it can just go in really quickly and do some fun things. So for the first map, basic range strategy with Plague Farmers, although you can also do Gargoyles, because Gargoyles can also get the boss down just a little bit more slower. Then the second map, Gargoyle is there to take the towers. I have Whelpex and I have Prowler that can support it, and everyone else is here just to defend. So keep up the defense, go through all lanes, grab both towers, and start attacking the boss. Also, Gargoyle can attack the boss, and Gargoyle can even tank the boss to an extent, even though it's not resistant. And then the third boss is just usual whack-a-mole, and we have 4 ground minis, and also Whelpex can be useful, because Whelpex can kill, for example, Molten Giants quite easily, even though they cannot break the actual switches. And this is what this Rend army looks like in action. So here we go, it's Rend time, first map. As always, trying to grab the meeting stone and trying to grab the early chests. And here we go. I didn't really have the type of minis that I preferably would have wanted for the meeting stone, but I'm just sending a gargoyle out there. Gargoyle can tank a little bit, make it easier for my other minis to actually get into action. Maybe. Here we go, we are trying. The gargoyle, it just takes those shots from the mountaineer and doesn't care. And that allowed the witch doctor to get to do some things. So, alright. Looking pretty good. I'm actually taking the stone. I have some kind of an attack going in at the boss. And we get to mine, and then I get to start with the plague farmer going through the bottom. This time, sadly, that went a little bit poorly because the plague farmer now tried to kill the kobold that had the shield on. So that didn't really work out, but it's okay. We have plenty more where those came from, including more prowlers, witch doctors, plague farmers, the whole deal. And yeah, so now it's just attacks against the boss from both sides, trying to mine when I can, and that should be it. Here for a while I thought maybe I could send in a gargoyle as well, but then I decided, nah. Why use gargoyle? You can just send more plague farmers, then they died to a Griffin Rider though, but so gargoyle would have died to a Griffin Rider as well. It's okay. The prowler getting thrown around a little bit, but just in time, Pyromancer gets some excellent shots in, take down 2 minis and grabs the shield. And then I can also send a plague farmer to support, so this is looking quite good overall. Some minis are attacking like Harvest Golem a little inconveniently, but then I can also just drop some Whelbecks. Whelbecks are really strong in Gnomeregan. You can just drop them, you can hit, well, both of the first 2 bosses with them, and even in the third boss they are still useful, even though they can't actually deal damage to the boss itself. Here we go again, and we managed to pick up the shield again, that's great. And well, something's always coming along just when my plague farmer would do things, but hey, we can drop in some Whelbecks and send in some prowlers as well, and witch doctors, and boom. First boss is down, ready for the real test. Okay, then for the real test, the Electrocutioner. I have a gargoyle in my opening hand, so I can send a gargoyle immediately to where I think there's going to be the least opposition. And then other than that, I'm trying to send defensive units through the middle, but send them so that they will start fighting closer to my base instead of being close to the towers. And Gargoyle was able to take the tower, and then I lost the tower again, but Whelps were able to destroy everything that was near the tower. And now, because I have this Prowler in my army, Prowler can go in real fast. Prowler has a good chunk of DPS, so Theia is not able to rebuild that tower. And instead, Prowler is going to capture the tower for me. And that's spectacular. So now we have a tower. That's good. I need to kill the dwarf, because dwarf is a lot of DPS, and I need to position my mini close enough to the dwarf and far enough from the bear, so that it doesn't start shooting at the bear. Witch Doctor manages to do that, so that looks good for now. Tower is defending. I need to drop some whelp eggs here, so that the explosion will kill the troll, because the troll, otherwise the DPS from the troll is just, it's going to be so good. Alright, I managed to do just the right things, and then I can send another gargoyle. And now that the gargoyle is tanking the tower, that means that I have an opportunity to send a kobold here to mine. Usually that kobold that would try to mine would be killed very quickly. Even if something like Pyromancer was in the middle, then Pyromancer would die, and then the kobold would die. Kobold would not be able to mine. But gargoyle is so tanky that just gives necessary cover for the kobold. And now, suddenly we found ourselves in a position where I have both towers, I'm attacking through the middle, and yeah, this is the best position you can be in. Now we just need to... Was that a mistake? Maybe it was fine. Now we just need to find just enough resources so that we can keep taking the chests in the middle, keep mining, and try to defend the towers. And in worst case scenario, well, not in worst case scenario, in case I'm not able to actually kill the boss quickly, then there is still a chance for me to reach overtime, and in overtime I can just spam eggs and I can spam prowlers, and those can kill the boss for me. So, but let's see how it goes. Because prowler with the stun, with the charge, forces the boss to rethink its targets and just gives a little bit of cover for all of these ranged minis, if I can find room for that. Also trying out some gargoyle attacks, because gargoyle is quite a fun mini as well here. Tower's doing a good job defending. I can send prowler through the middle. Prowler being fast is an asset, because it just goes in really quickly. Like this, getting some stuns in, getting some damage in. Now the leftmost tower, it's still up, okay. I was quite certain that I was going to lose that leftmost tower, but apparently I did not. So now I'll need a tank if I want to keep it, or some distraction at least. But overtime is approaching. As long as the AI doesn't get too big of an attack too quickly, then I can just spam some unbounds and get the boss down. Get some prowlers maybe in. Prowler can just run through right there and boom. So I lose the tower, but it does not matter. The boss will not have enough time. That's often how these games go. You can lose one tower when the boss is low enough that you can just keep attacking and win. And finally, Mekgineer Thermaplugg, a bit more of a formality. This one, it's possible to lose, but typically you should not be losing this one. So I actually think this went pretty poorly, if I remember correctly. And then, yeah, that prowler. Yeah, that prowler coming in. I totally missed that there was a prowler coming in. And whoopsie, suddenly there's a prowler attacking my base. And when there's a prowler that's 2 levels higher than your base, attacking your base, then it can solo deal like 50% of base health in damage. But because this boss is so free, then even from a pretty horrible position like this, just sharpening up the play a little bit and it's all gonna be fine. So we just keep sending stuff on both sides, try to keep everything going smoothly. There's another prowler coming. I'm trying to use Whelpex here. Whelpex can also shoot at the prowler, and look at that. Whelpex did a good job against that prowler right there. Splendid Whelpex. No, I'm losing that switch to the null. That was unpleasant. There are more bombs incoming. And more prowlers. So many prowlers. I need to counter that prowler because I can't let it charge my base. That might even turn out to be lethal. Of course, having a prowler here is a little awkward for me, because prowler is fast. But on the other hand, sometimes you get a position like that, and then prowler killed the opposing prowler and cleared 3 switches. So, like, even though it's fast, and that makes it generally a little weaker in this map, it's by far not useless. So here we go again. Blasting a little bit. Already the health situation has changed. The boss is already losing. And that Prowler superstar who captured 3 switches had a good part to play in that, and boom. That was Gnomeregan, Rend minus 2.1 levels. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.